Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I received a request from a viewer regarding this animation I used for Snakefill tutorial opening scene. So today we'll be going over how exactly to make this animation. By the way, we will be using the Snakefill node group, so if you have not made that yet, please follow the link in the description and make that one first. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, let's start by going into Geometry Nodes Layout. Select all with A, X to delete. Shift A, add mesh plane. Using numpad 7 and 5, go into top orthographic view. Click on new for new map, delete group input, and replace it with string input. We'll start with a single letter, a capital I. Pass it through strings to curve, and output. Let's set up the render scene first. Set text alignment to center, middle. And add a scene camera. Raise its position on Z by 1 meter. And change its type to orthographic as well. Let's press 0 now for a camera view. And reselect the text. We'll go ahead and add a Snakefill node after strings to curve. If you do not have this registered as an asset, you can append the node group from the Snakefill file. Let's change some settings here. Set spacing to 0.02, H resolution to 0.01, and cutoff to 0.05. This is how it should look now. Little explanation. So this animation is going to be a combination of Snakefill and text forming Spline. We'll start by attaching a straight line in opposite direction from the Snakefill start point. It will extend out to the point that the line is way outside of camera view like so. We need this exterior portion to be long enough to compensate for the original Snakefill spline length. So we need the length of Snakefill added with a scene frame X amount for this extension spline. Let's start by adding a for each element node so we can account for all the splines. Change domain to spline and reconnect. We need the starting position of the Snakefill. To get that, we'll use sample curve. With factored 0, we can get the starting coordinate and also the tangent. In this case, the tangent is pointing right, so we want to extend in opposite direction. Let's add a curved line and set mode to direction. Connect position to start. Then vector mask scale the tangent, reverse it, and connect it to direction. We should end up with this 1 meter spline going left. We'll set the length to the aforementioned value. Let's first get the Snakefill length by branching a curve length from element. We'll add a set amount to extend it out of the camera view. I'll use 3, but it should be adjusted accordingly. Now connect this to lengths. We can now join this line with the Snakefill above. So here it is with the extended spline. However, these two are separate splines and not connected. We want to merge these two, but merge by distance does not work on curve domain. So we need to convert to edge first with curve to mesh. Then convert it back to curve after merging. Now the splines are connected into a single spline. In the past text forming spline tutorial, I've shown how to use the selection condition to avoid having multiple points merge. However, in this case we pretty much know there is only a single position of merge due to how we set up the splines. So we don't need to use that method for this one. So we ended up with a very long single spline. We will be trimming this spline, but before we do that, we want to store the original spline length. If we don't, we aren't gonna know how much we should trim. So let's grab a noodle from the curve length and plug it into empty socket for each element. This acts like a capture attribute per element, so we can use this length afterwards. Right, let's start trimming then. Insert a trim curve and change mode to length. Pull out a map range from start and value node from value socket. Ctrl-Shift-D the map range to duplicate with connections and connect result to end. Let's start with a value of 1, which is the final position. We'll be dealing with the 2 max values of the map range nodes. Connect the capture length for end2 max and use 0 for start2 max. We should end up with the original snake fill text. Next, set the value to 0 for initial position. For this, get the entire spline length with the extension. Connect it to end2 min. Subtract the captured length from the spline length and connect to start2 min. Now we got the initial position. We should see the spline moving around by changing this value. Let's now turn this into animation by adding time element. We'll add a reroute after value and delete this value node. Replace it with map range. Then we'll drive this using the scene time. I'll just set the animation time range. We'll start at 1 second and end at 4 second mark. Let me rearrange a bit to clarify the connections. Forgive me for the mess. I hope this makes it better. Here's the animation. Spline enters from the left and turns into snakefill. Alright, time to turn spline into mesh. Add a curve to mesh node and use curve line for a profile. Set x from -0.5 to 0.5 and rest to 0. Scale of 0.01 should be good. We need more points for material animation, so let's add more samples. Resample with length of 0.01 meter. And clean up the mesh by changing spline type to NURBS. Animation logic is pretty much complete, so let's go back and change the text. I will just use test. Now, the splines are coming in from both sides and looks nice. Moving on to material, but before we do that, let's store attributes to be used in the shader. Add a store named attribute after curve to mesh. Keep the setting as is and name it time, then store the scene time. I know it is a waste of memory, but I really don't like using hash frame, which is FPS dependent. I really hope in the future version, scene time can be directly used in shader editor. Next, duplicate the store named attribute and rename it to fac. We will store spline parameter factor here. Lastly, add a set material and select the default material. We are done with geometry nodes, aside from some parameter tweaking we'll do later for finishing touch. Let's now switch the window to shader editor and select the default material to get working on it. First, get rid of the principled BSDF. and replace it with RGB. Select some color and output. We'll switch to render view to display it. Now, if you want a single color, this is enough. But let's recreate the color gradient I used for the opening scene. Well, it is actually an easy and lazy process. So, all I do is insert texture coordinate node and directly output either the camera or window coordinate. This creates a nice looking gradient color, so all I do is adjust it with HSV node. I think I used window coordinate with these HSV settings. We'll get it shining by adding an emission shader and crank up the strength to 20. Then, add a mix shader to mix it with the raw color. To get it to emit light, we'll open up Compositor and enable Use Nodes. Then, add a bloom filter here. Go to the viewport and enable Viewport Compositor to get it blooming. We'll also set the background to black to make it stand out. Now for the emission timing and fill-up animation. Grab the time attribute we stored in the geometry node side and pass the factors through a greater than node. Set the thresh to 4. Then connect to mix shader factor. Now the spline completes its movement, text will start shining. To get light to fill up the text, we'll add the spline factor element to this equation. From the greater than threshold, connect the math add. Re-enter 4 and add it with factor attribute. Now the spline gradually lights up along the spline factor. If you want to control the fill-up speed, insert a mass multiply. Value larger than 1 will slow it down, and value smaller than 1 will speed it up. For the opening scene, I think I used 2. If you want to reverse the direction, insert an invert color before multiply. It now flows upwards. And if you mute, it will flow downwards. Alright, done with materials, so we'll go back to geometry nodes and make final adjustments. I used snake as a text and Bauhaus for font. This is one of my go-to fonts. I increased the size to 2 for the scene and changed snake fill spacing to 0.05. I think I increased the cutoff to 0.1 as well. Let's get rid of the overlay. And here's the final animation. Alright, let's sum it up. Here is the overview. And from the left. And here's a shader. Okay, so this was a recreation of an opening scene which was requested by a viewer in the comment section. My tutorial mainly focuses on algorithms, so it is often the case that I don't finish with a complete renderable scene. That being said, I am more than happy to go through specific animations, so leave requests in comment sections. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.